What's up guys, my name is Royce Chamberlain. I am a videographer out of Tampa, and in this video right here, I'm gonna be covering the only 3 lenses you'll ever need. I shoot a lot out of state and local for different businesses and companies, most notably for a man named Benny Johnson. We film documentaries and different pieces all over the US at this point, and most of the time I use one lens, but I have 3 lenses in my arsenal, and they cover every single range, everywhere from 18 all the way up to 200. And I'll go over the lenses with you, but that's a pretty broad spectrum when it comes to focal lengths. 18 is pretty wide, and 200 is, I don't know if you'll ever need tighter than 200 for a lens, but starting off the bat, we're gonna go from cheapest to most expensive. Is my Sigma 18-35, which is the lens that I'm currently using. This lens will cost you, as of right now on B&H, $679. It's not that bad, and it's a really good lens. It has an aperture of 1.8, which means you get a really shallow depth of field, real blurry background, and it's wide. Goes from 18 to 35. 35 is a completely respectable focal length. You can get a lot with that. You can do a lot with that. But 18, if you really want to capture a space, 18 is the way to go. And in your arsenal, you're going to want to have something wide. Now, I know people, and I've done it myself, where I don't have the capability to carry around multiple lenses. So I'll have the lens that I'm going to get to next and a GoPro. As long as you have something to get the wide shots, this is the lens that I would recommend, honestly, to have if you need something to capture the wide angle. It does not have image stabilization on it, which is a drawback. Unfortunate. It would be nice to have, but when you're shooting so wide, most cameras do have some sort of image stabilization built in. When you're shooting so wide, it's not as needed. The little bumps and stuff are less noticeable and much easier to correct in post. Moving on to the second lens, which is the lens that I use most often. It's pretty much the king of lenses, in my opinion. You know, the last lens that we had was 18-35, and this one starts pretty much in the middle of that at 24. Pretty wide. I've used it for a wide angle shot in a lot of scenarios, and then it goes all the way up to 70, which is pretty close to the standard portrait length, which is 85. But that's pretty close. You can get pretty tight on whatever you need to with the 24-70. Has an aperture of 2.8, so still pretty shallow, still pretty good blurry background, which everybody wants. Everybody shoots all the way open nowadays. But that's nice. You know, it also does not have image stabilization, which is a draw, especially when you're shooting in 70. I wish it had that, but again, most cameras like the C70 I'm shooting on right now has built-in image stabilization, and you can do a bit in post. But it's always nice to have it on the lens, you know, because that's where the image is coming in initially. So if it can stabilize it there rather than when it hits the sensor or after the shot's already taken and you're in post, it's always nice. So I believe they do have a version that has image stabilization. Mine doesn't, and this lens will run you about $1,899. It's not the most expensive lens out there. It's not the cheapest lens out there, but in my opinion, my personal opinion, it is so worth it. If you're gonna buy any of the lenses I'm going over in this video, this is the one you should get first. It is, I have it right here. It's just, I don't shoot anything without it. I covered this in my last video where I talked about my rig. If you wanna see that video, click the box up in the corner, but this is just the best lens you can have. 24-70, when you're run and gun, when you're shooting something on the go, when you have to travel light, this is the go-to. It's expensive. $1,900 is expensive. I was gonna say it won't break the bank, but depending on what you have in your bank, it might. But I love it. I think it's totally worth it, and you should definitely get one. The next lens that I would recommend you get to complete the arsenal, to cover from 18 all the way up to 200. If you know any lenses, you probably know this lens. It is the Monster 70-200. Now this lens won't get anything wide. This lens only gets tight, okay? It's 70, which is the max of the 24-70, right? Which zooms in pretty far in camera, all the way up to 200. I mean, that'll get you whatever you need. We've used this for, we've done some man on the street stuff where I've had to be on the other side of the street filming my subject, and it covers just fine. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. You know, sometimes it's too tight. The perk of this one is it also shoots in a very low aperture of 2.8. A lot of these you'll find will shoot in 4.0. Now that's gonna get you that bokeh effect when you're zoomed in pretty tight and you're a distance from your subject. But I mean, you will have just the picture perfect background. You won't see nothing but your subject at 2.8 zoomed into 200 on this sucker. It is a beautiful, beautiful lens. I love it. It's not something that I can travel with everywhere I go. I wish I could. I wish it was more compact, but this sucker's the size of my forearm. It's huge. And it's not the biggest lens you can get. There are much bigger, but this is a huge lens. And this sucker, being the most expensive, for obvious reasons, will run you $2,099, $2,100. It's expensive, you know. But if you're gonna choose between these two, because they're almost, you know, they're kind of close in price, couple $100 difference, I would always go with this one, just as a side note. But you know, when you have these three lenses, I can't hold them all up because I'm filming on the 18 to 35 right now. But when you have all three of these lenses, you're covering everything that you need to. If you are capable of or have the means to travel with all three of them, you will never fail. No matter what situation, I think this will cover you. So I only have a couple more other lenses. Another lens that I have is a fisheye lens, but I don't have any other lenses. This is all I use for everything, and I use them all quite often. Again, the one I use the most and my favorite is the 24 to 70. I can't preach on that enough. But anyways, if you like these lenses, you should pick them up. The links will be in the description. You should check them out. They're great lenses. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit. And if you want to know any more about this stuff, or if there's something else that you're specifically interested in, let me know in the comments. I will be sure to get to it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you guys in the next video.